Well, that is kind of how we want qualifiers to go, isn't it? For the most part, very few blemishes. And as I think about it, up and down the list, I can only think of one. I can think of one horse in the entire roster of the stable.ca that we have tried to qualify that's not qualified yet. Only one. It's pretty good. I'm not going to dwell on that, and it's not that horse's fault either. That horse will come around quite quickly. Hill Street Blues. I like him. He just needs a little help, and we're going to get up to him. So enough about that. A huge day today. I'll tell you what. I went on the track, so it's so weird. I went on the track, and first horse, 8:15. Johnny went out. 8:30. I went out with Spitfire. First trip. We go 2 trips. As we go on the track, like, what a beautiful day. You know, I'm thinking Spitfire's going to go a big mile. Crantini. These horses are going to go big miles today, like 57, and look awesome. Good last quarters. And as I come around the turn, way over by, if you've been to Mohawk, where that gas station is, as you start to come around the turn, around the 3/4 pole, gust of wind hits me. The wind is at my back. And as I go around the turn, now it's at my side, and I'm like, oh no. As I start into the backstretch, it hits me, and it was a gale force wind. I don't want to put a number. It had to be 40, 50 kilometers an hour, the winds. In a straight wind, not gusts. These are straight winds. Well, I'll tell you what. The winds were so bad and substantial, they actually gave a variant of 2 seconds today on a day that was sunny and 26, not a cloud in the sky. That's how windy it was. So somebody said, you know, the qualifiers, the first quarters are so slow, the last quarters are so slow. What's going on? Well, that's why. And I guess I'll start with where we'll finish also. That last quarter of Crantini, that's how good it was. Worth noting. And James, I'll tell James we're about to go have a little bite to eat here in a minute. The fastest last quarter for a trotter today at Mohawk was James's horse, Hasty Bid. Now, it was like 2.4 or 2.3 or something, but it was the fastest last quarter of the day. And I think it's so windy as a driver, you're like, we're going backwards. But it's not the horse's fault. They're doing their best they can. I'll tell you what today does expose inferior horses. Horses that aren't that good, when they look horrible today, like Rosita's Dream didn't go good, but his last quarter was 30 seconds, last half in a minute. I finished where I started, and he wasn't good today, but he was good. As I said to my partner, Alan, on Rosita's Dream, you know what? He was great 7 days ago. All I have to figure out is what happened in the last 7 days. He's not lame. He's not sore. He's interfering a little bit, but he was interfering a little bit last week. You know, I really believe on a warm day with no wind, that horse probably should have qualified in 2 minutes today. Quite a ways from 2.5. But it wasn't just the wind today. He just wasn't good. And I'll tell you a horse that looked pretty good but wasn't good was Spitfire. He was interfering. I bought him brand new trotting boots, and he's touching up on his jacks. And it dawned on me. I was talking to Bill O'Donnell after and Sylvain before that. And I said, you know, we trained down on that half-mile track at Tamiko. There's not a ton of stone dust on it, so it's fairly bare. And on a hot day like this, it's a little deep and cuppy, what drivers would call cuppy, on the track. What that means is they'll kind of cup out on the track. I don't think our horses are getting a hold of the track very good. Unbeatable Kemp last night for sure was slipping. I'll talk about. I'll make quick reference then. Blue by Udeo, our GGT is high. I knew it had to be something, and it was pretty easily explained. We saw our blood. Our GGT was 20% higher than the highest level, so quite a bit high. The good news is we have the medication to treat her, so it's good we know what it was. Wasn't just that, though. She was off right hind. We're going to get that looked at this week, so enough there. Back to the babies. So Rosita's Dream was unimpressive. Was it the wind? Cowards won't race well in the wind. He's never really been a coward, though, so I don't think that was it. I think there was something bothering him. We'll probably draw his blood tomorrow and see what it says. But qualified, 2 flat lines anyway, and didn't want to run, did his work, so good for him. Then we went out with, let's see, that was set 2, that was qualifier 2. James's horse was good, 29 seconds on the end, fastest last quarter of the day, so good for him. Next was race number 6. We went with Tailgate Buzz. Again, 2.4 last quarter and 31. Buzz isn't sharp right now. One of my partners on Buzz, Marco, said, you know, Buzz was great all year. What's going on with Buzz? You know what? I'm bit of school buzz. A couple of these horses next week that maybe weren't super impressive today, but are impressive animals. Now, Spitfire will requalify. We're going to reshoe him. He will requalify next week. I'll go with him again. What went on with Tailgate Buzz? I don't know. I don't want to tell you. Another horse that just kind of seemed blah, kind of seemed flat. So we'll draw his blood tomorrow also and get a good look at him. Listen, we know he's talented. It's just a matter of we'll drop the hammer on him next week and see how Buzz does next week. Now, somebody had asked me, is he going to Pennsylvania for that pop-up series? He could. I mean, I already had Fashion, you only enter 2, so I already had Fashion Presidente, and I took Enzo out of it. I don't think he needs to go there. What's the other horse? I told everybody the other day. Oh, Austral Hanover. We'll see. I think race him, qualify him, whatever. Tailgate Buzz. Listen, they go for 8,000 at the Meadows. Guess what? They go for 8,000 everywhere. So, I mean, Maiden's going to go for almost 8,000 anywhere. So, we'll get to the bottom of Tailgate Buzz. Then we went into race 8. Who do we have in race 8? Austral Hanover. He looked great. Man, that horse come a long way. You talk about him and Fashion Presidente were literally, and you guys know it, almost throwaways. They were terrible. They both showed sparks, glimmers that they might be okay, but then to go out and actually turn that into something tangible, turn that into good miles. Austral Hanover didn't just win today, commanded the race, trotted through the wind and opened up. That was hard to do. And remember what I told you, a cheap horse, a coward, will not trot through the wind like that. If he had come 31 and somebody picked him off, I'd be like, come on, he's just a horse. He was good today. Austral Hanover was impressive today. Very happy with him. I'll tell you a horse that wasn't impressive was Old Check. Now, I personally just don't think he wanted to get away last, right? James got away last. He was rolly down the backstretch. I don't know what was going on there. A little rolly down the backstretch. So, was that it? Can you? Okay. Was that it? What caused that rolliness? I'm not sure. He didn't do that last week, but I had him buttoned up on a helmet last week and then cut him loose. So I don't really know what was going on. Now, we added knee boots this week, and it was funny because I was sitting beside Eddie Hensley, and I said, this horse could be one of them ones where he just shows a slight mark in his knee, and then you put knee boots on him, and all of a sudden he's all over his knees. And he goes, isn't that weird? It's so hard. You can't explain it to people that don't know. You'd never believe it. If you were a trainer or a driver, until it happens to you, you'd never believe it. Happened many, many times. You'll have horses that just start to pick at their knees. They never wore knee boots before, never really brushed their knees. Once, it's almost like their feet are hungry. Once they get a taste of that knee, they just go at it, and it's so weird. Now, James said Olchek wasn't really into his knees that bad. I think maybe it would do snug as hobbles a hole. Put a gate. Now, the one difference was I did have a gate and pull on my bike last week. James didn't have one on his, but I don't remember him using the gate and pull last week. So the gating pole is literally as it sounds, a pole on the side of the bike that goes from the tip of the bike all the way back, and you can maneuver it with you can push it over back and forth with your legs. So I don't remember using the gating pole on Old Check last week, but you can see him down the backstretch kind of wander in and veer in a little bit and get out of gear. Curious what that was. He didn't do that on me last time, so I don't know. We'll see. I think overall that kind of took away from the rest of the mile for him. I thought he was awesome last week, and he looked rather pedestrian today. So I'm more apt. I've seen him be good, so I'm more apt to pitch today's line and maybe put him in a maiden at Grand River or Georgian. They'll start writing 2-year-old maidens there soon. Now, two of the most interesting horses of the day. Spitfire was good. Was he Spitfire-like? No. I'd like to come back with a strong mile and 57 with that colt next week, and I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. He was good today. A couple of changes need made with Spitfire. Okay, race 13 was Gandalf. Race 14, qualifier 14, was Crantini. Gandalf the Black looked borderline dangerous last week. Now, he's not dangerous because when he makes those breaks, he comes right up pacing. He doesn't want to run. And it's not overly obvious why he does it to begin with. He's done it his whole life. I made some significant shoeing changes with him today. Went into the first turn. I kept him on a helmet. I just let him, nursed him through the first turn. He was fine. He starts to panic a little bit when he gets to the turns, even a big turn. We're getting into the last turn, and he did put a step in. but he came right up pacing. I'm like, easy. I had to move him over a little bit, kind of drive him to the left, which sounds odd, but that's what you almost had to do. Almost drive him like a trotter. Once I got him squared away, good, and we come out of the turn, he never put a ripple in. He paced as hard as he could to the wire. Fast, I think, I didn't look officially, but it has to be the fastest last quarter of the day. I watched most of the qualifiers. Trevor's horse was pacing good on the inside, so maybe him. But Gandalf the Black was very strong. I pulled up and I said to James, this horse here is mildly dangerous. I don't think dangerous. Mildly dangerous and very fast. And what I like the most about Gandalf the Black, he wants to do it. Now, I'll eat my words. This is a horse that back in February and March never gave us one indication that he wanted to do anything properly. You saw? You saw him all winter. He was horrible. Now, Gandalf means business. 58, 28, and 2 on the end of it. The only problem is we're probably not going to be able to race him on a half or 5/8. Gandalf the Black is going to be a 2023 horse. And I don't mean that he's not racing in 2022. I believe we'll be able to race him some starts at Mohawk, but we're going to have to navigate those waters very carefully. And it's not that you can just throw a driver up on him. You have to have somebody on that knows him. I know him. James knows him. It's a little tricky. Shouldn't be, but is. But the shoeing changes we made worked today. He was good. I would say 95%. If I didn't know his history and I didn't see him go last week and I wasn't sitting behind him and he put that little shimmy in getting in the turn, I'd be like, just threw a little step in. He's fine after. I saw it coming though. And I knew he was going to do it. So, but after that, it was very easy to keep him together. I think it's partially confidence, and if there's a spot bothering him, I can't see it. Mechanically, nothing is obvious to me. We've had him to the vet, there's nothing obvious there. So it's really weird. But he was good. He was good today. I was super impressed with Gandalf the Black. You know, if we can coax him into being in striking range, and I'm not going to say, he's a gold colt. He might not even be a grassroots colt, but he'll take a mark of 54 as a 2-year-old. I'll tell you that. I like Gandalf. I love horses. I will always go to bat for horses that want to do their work. That horse is a worker. So Gandalf was good. Come out with Crantini. He just infuriates you sometimes because, one, he never gets tired, ever. Crantini, never tired. And two, he just annoys you. It's almost like he says, what can I do to not get in trouble but really piss this person off? That's what Crantini is. I can see. It's almost like you can see him thinking. Do you have a brother or a sister that just wants to bug you, and you know before you can look at them and know they're thinking to something to say or do something to annoy you at that particular moment. That is the feeling Crantini gives you every time you sit behind him. And then he just hits this gear, and you're like, wow, what a nice horse. This horse won't need hobbles when he gets his head on straight. Probably doesn't need them now. When he's in full flight, man, what a beautiful animal. Coming out of the gate again, he was touching himself, and he did it again, switching gears, coming out of the turn. I tapped him on the tail. Go back and watch the video. Coming out of the turn, he just throws a little shimmy in. That's him touching himself. So we're going to have to put a little more grab on the horses up front, I think. A little more grab for here anyway. And get them shod. If they're at 3 weeks, I want them done this week. If they're at 2 weeks, I might want them shimmed. Might want them cleaned up a little bit. So Crantini's ready to go. I want to take a hard look at his calendar. It's not the same as Carter Michael Dio, Brace for Landing. A lot of those horses, we took them out of the Howden. Well, guys, when we had to make that second big payment, he was horrible. In fact, it's to the point where I wanted to choke him some days. So we did. Took him out of some of them. But we left him in some also. So I want to take a look at his calendar and say, okay, Crantini's going to give us 12 starts. Much like a manager with a pitcher. He's going to give us 12 starts. Where do I want them to be? I would normally say, I don't like the PA All-Stars. It doesn't go for a lot of money, and it's just a smoke show, the first one usually. Everybody that has their horses ready to go real early has them in the PA All-Stars. I don't know if I want Crantini there. What I might do is race him here. You know, it's nothing against James. James was trying to do right by the horse last week. I was trying to get him qualified and make a point this week with him especially. Not James, the horse. You really have to stretch them out sometimes, and I think he does need to learn, and James is 100% right in trying to teach him. The only thing missing from his curriculum last week was staying trotting. So Crantini just needs a little more work. So do we do that here? I mean, we can teach him as we go. So does that mean he goes straight to the All-Stars, or do we keep him here or race? I'm not sure yet. I'm not torn. I don't know which way to go with this guy. And I don't want to waste any starts because he is a super fast horse. We are so blessed. You guys have no idea how lucky you are. You know, to have horses like, and I don't mean, oh, you're so lucky that it was us. No, we're lucky. We're lucky. As a group, we are lucky. Brace for Landing, Carter, Michael Dio, Crantini, Enzo. Just like 5. I'm missing Una, Horn Player. We could get to 10 legitimate good horses at the stable. I just think as a group, we're very, very blessed this year, and I can't wait to get racing these horses. You know, it's one thing to talk about it; it's another thing to do it. They're walking the walk right now, and it looks great. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. Good luck to everybody. A lot going on. Super excited. 1, to drive Horn Player. 2, to race Una Madonna. 3, to watch Swinging Senorita go. Ton of other horses going. This is the coolest time of year, right? The coolest time of year. So I will talk to you all very soon. I hope you're having a great day. You know what? I said to my wife, I sat on that patio at that restaurant with her last night till about 11:30 or so, 11 o'clock it seemed like. These are the days, especially a day where the horses went good and it's sunny and nice out. Can't take these ones for granted. Get to a patio, have a drink, watch the races, have some fun. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.